Sup gamers, welcome to Jojokun reaction. Today we are going to react to Guoba Certified Black Swan guide. Black Swan already dropped. How are your pullings? How are your pulls? Tell me. Did you get Black Swan? Did you fail? Did you get your E26 Yanqing or E16 Himeko? So for you Black Swan havers, you must want to know how to beat Black Swan, right? And for me, it is my preference personally. I really like my guide maker, the guide maker that I follow, to use numbers, simulation, and testing. So there's no personal bias, personal opinion and prejudice and everything, all of those emotional stuff out of the way. So I want facts. I want the just based on numbers, because numbers don't lie, guys. So there are two content creators that I usually turn to when it comes to guides, especially for Honkai Star Rail, especially for new characters that drop. One is Guoba Certified, the creator of this video that we are going to watch, and the other one is Mr. Poki, because Mr. Poki translates CN unit analysis, the theories from CN community, and we know that CN community cooks some very, very interesting thing, guys, some very, very insane tech. So but today we are going to react to Guoba Certified Black Swan guide. Let's see. I'm not pulling for Black Swan myself, so this is more for you guys. Who knows, maybe after watching this guide from Mr. Guoba, I finally be interested in pulling for Black Swan. So who knows, right? Hopefully not, because I'm right now well off into saving for Hanabi, for Sparkle. So hopefully I can stay strong. So let's go. Let's begin, guys.
Guoba Swan here with a guide on the coolest new dot unit in town.
Yep.
She is so much fun, better in practice than what maths can tell you.
Okay, interesting.
Kind of work as a supportive unit if you're not interested in damage over time.
What? You mean she can? You mean she can function even not in a DOT team as a supportive unit? Okay, that's surprising to me. I mean, her skill has defense down, sure, but okay, all right. I can see that.
Explain everything you need to know.
But how does it work though? How does it work?
Her potential by explaining her kit in depth, reviewing her eidolons, calculating her best light cones and relics, then discussing pros and cons, and finishing with her best teams and synergies.
Okay.
I will also tackle the two main questions for Black Swan. Does she need Kafka, and does Kafka need her? So like and sub if this helped. Let me know.
Now my hypothesis is Black Swan's gonna need Kafka, and Kafka's gonna need Black Swan. Because we know already that Kafka needs a 5-star DPS DOT sub DPS, 5-star, because right now Sampo is cool, Goenaifan is cool, Luca is cool, but I think Black Swan just brings DOT to another level. So yeah. Does Black Swan needs Kafka though? We'll see.
Below what you think of her, and let's begin.
Okay.
Black Swan is a 5-star Wind Nihility unit, and her debuff niche as part of the Nihility roster is applying her special Wind Shear variant, Arcana, alongside many different debuffs. At level 80, she has a base HP of 1086, her base attack is a high 659, and her base defense is 485. She has an OK speed of 102 and an average 120. For trace priority, you want to start with her talent, and then follow with her ultimate alongside her skill, and finishing with her basics. Okay. So let's check out her wall of text of a kit.
Yes.
Let's start by introducing Arcana.
If you see Black Swan's kit, guys, it's a huge paragraph. Ain't no way I'm reading that. Ain't no way.
Damage over time debuff. It has many ways of being applied, as we'll later go on to in depth.
Okay.
Arcana is a variant of Wind Shear and counts for any conditions that require a Wind Shear, such as the Fermata Light Cone.
Oh, very good.
It has a permanent base stack of 1 on enemies, can even be applied when they enter battle, and the more you stack, the higher the dot multiplier increases.
Yeah.
It will reset to 1 on enemy turns after they take the Arcana damage. Arcana can be detonated.
Wait, does that mean the enemy will always be under Arcana? Because it will be reset to 1, not 0. So the enemy will always have the Arcana debuff, the Arcana DOT, like the Wind Shear, right? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Like the enemy will always be under that, under the DOT. So, okay, that's different from our current DOT characters. That's good. Interesting.
Point, and as it is a wind shear, it can be detonated by Sampo E4 and of course Kafka. We'll also see how sometimes it can even be detonated by Guinaifen and Luca just after though.
Okay.
Her talent, Loom of Fate's Caprese, is a good way to continue the explanation. It introduces our first way of Arcana being applied, and that is when an enemy takes dot damage at the start of their turn. It's not when dot is applied. This is per instance of dot, so any unique dot like a shock, a break shock, a road from the patient's light cone, and even Arcana
Kafka signature.
Wind shear from Sampo can stack up to 5 stacks, but only counts as a singular dot, by the way.
So here's my problem with DOT, guys, and apparently it still exists with Black Swan. My problem is with DOT is that it's super slow. It really needs enemy to move. I think it's not as much of a problem when the enemy has high level, because enemy has high speed at that point. But yeah, in general, compared to hyper carry, compared to double DPS, I think DOT or follow up attack, DOT is some of the slowest. I mean, it's fun seeing the enemy take like damage both upfront and then during their turn, but the enemy has to take a turn in order to take damage. That's what I don't like, that's what I don't like. So yeah, I think it's good. It's cool. It is just me though. It's just me.
All this damage over time takes will happen first before Arcana every single time, and thus contribute to Arcana's stack count before it explodes and resets. The talent is also responsible for the Arcana damage multiplier, and leveling this increases the base damage as well as the stacking multiplier increase.
Okay.
Arcana will reset to 1 after the enemy receives damage from
reset
it,
to
and
1.
Stack up to 50 times for a total multiplier of
50?
840% of her attack at level 10. You won't be getting
50, guys. Is it possible to stack all the way up to 50? I mean, how?
To 50 stacks ever in my experience though.
Yeah, that's what I said.
6 or you're in simulated universe.
Okay.
You can hit peaks of nearly 40 in some optimized scenarios.
Nearly 40? That's huge. I mean, how much damage will you be doing at that point if you can stack 40? Wow. Do we play triple DOT or what? We'll see. But I mean, reaching 40, guys, I mean even 30, 35. Well, oh my god, the damage, I can only imagine. Yeah.
In my simulations, I saw peaks of 20 to 30 stacks. Finally, this talent introduces some bonuses to stacking Arcana, though these only apply upon enemy turns, not from detonations.
Yeah.
At 3 or more stacks,
that's the problem.
Arcana does a single attack to adjacent enemies, like a blast attack, whilst also applying Arcana to them. At 7 or more, the Arcana damage will ignore 20% of the enemy's defense.
Very good.
And so will that blast attack.
Defense ignore is broken.
You'll be hitting over 7 stacks in a good team every single enemy turn. Basic does no meaningful damage but applies Arcana, and then has a chance to apply a stack of Arcana for every unique dot element type on the enemy she attacks.
And like I said in my previous video during Sparkle discussion, you will have because of how you're playing 2 DPS basically with DOT composition with Kaka and Black Swan. If you put Ruanmei there and also Hua, then your DPS, either Kafka or Black Swan, will have to sacrifice and just use basically, just use basic attack. Yeah, and you have to alternate between those two. So, I don't know. It's still good though. It's still good.
Since Arcana counts as wind shear, this means she can always apply 2 stacks herself alone. This means she can also stack up to 5 Arcana in her 1 basic, provided the enemy has shock, burn, and bleed on top of her own dot.
Okay.
This doesn't mean you need to go 3 dot units though to maximize this stack count.
So that's the answer.
As a blast attack also.
That's the answer. We don't need to run 3 DOT characters, assuming you pair her up with someone that can help her stack up the dots. Okay.
Dealing very little damage and inflicting Arcana on every enemy hit.
Alright.
She also reduces the defense of every enemy hit. When you have her first Ascension passive unlocked, her skill gains the same properties as her basic, applying additional stacks based on unique element dot types on the enemies she targets.
Okay, that's very good.
Won't apply to the blast targets, only the central one.
What? Only the central one? Oh man. I mean, it's good, you know. I mean, our main focus is the central target, right? The elite, right? So the mobs doesn't have the that high of a health pool, so it's gonna die anyway from the dodge. So yeah, I think it's okay. I think it's okay. It's good. It's good.
This means her skill can apply 1 Arcana to 3 targets, and then an additional 4 to the center one.
Okay.
Her ultimate will attack all enemies and inflicts a new debuff on them, Epiphany.
Ooh, awesome looking ultimate
Enemies
anyway.
that are affected by this have a 25% universal vulnerability modifier. However, this only takes effect if it's the enemy's turn, being pretty much a dot-only vulnerability without benefiting detonations.
Still the same.
In most cases.
Enemy turn.
It's really weird to make it like this, but whatever. Either way, this will buff dot damage a ton, and also her Arcana explosions.
Yep.
This ultimate also makes Arcana count as all dot types, meaning her basic and skill will apply 5 Arcana to the target she chooses without any.
So this is how you can stack more and more Arcana, guys. Like everything she does, basic, skill, ultimate, and then everything that her teammates, her DOT teammates, maybe Kafka, maybe Sampo, everything that they does, just stack Arcana. Just stack Arcana. This is how, I mean, it's so easy. It's impossible, basically. It's impossible for you, if you play correctly, if you build the right team around Black Swan correctly, it's impossible not to hit the 7 stacks. You could hit even like 18, 19, 20 easily.
External help, as Arcana will now register as a shock, bleed, and burn, even without these dots applied onto the enemy. This also means Gunnaifen's ultimate can detonate Arcana, and Lucas' enhanced basic can too, but only during the Epiphany duration.
Yeah.
Finally,
2 turns,
this
right?
ultimate also makes the next time enemies take their Arcana tick, not reset their stacks once per Epiphany. Meaning if I have 20 stacks on an enemy and they were altered previously, I'll take 20 stacks worth of damage and still keep them.
Wow, that's very good.
Even more Arcana for their next turn.
This is awesome.
Completely blow them up. Her technique finally will apply Arcana at a high.
I think it's similar to Kafka. When Kafka detonate the DOT, it doesn't remove them. So it's sort of similar to Kafka. Very good.
To every enemy with a half chance to apply another one, repeating until she misses her debuff application.
Gambles, guys, gamble.
So 150% base chance, which is guaranteed, to 75%, to 37.5%, etc. It's a bit of a funky one, but it doesn't attack enemies, so it's a free damage bonus to your runs.
Yeah.
Her Ascension 4 passive grants 2 other ways of applying her Arcana, and this is getting annoying at this point, but every time an enemy enters combat, they have a chance of having it applied. Enemies faster
very good.
or spawning ahead
very
of her,
good for pure fiction too.
Will take damage before she even does anything. The second new way is when the enemy receives dot from an ally in an attack. She can apply another stack of Arcana up to 3 times.
Okay.
This is for detonations and doesn't work when the enemy takes the actual dot damage. That's what the talent does. This checks for unique dots, but not element types. So if I skill on Kafka with Arcana, Kafka's Shock, and another dot, I will get 3 Arcana stacks. And ultimate from Kafka on top results in another 3. This can work on every enemy hit too, so Kafka's ultimate is going to go crazy.
So it's so easy to stack Arcana, guys. So
Finally,
easy.
Black Swan gains a damage percent boost equal to 60% of her effect hit rate up to 72% damage. And yes, this applies to dots. This will result in needing 120% effect hit rate to maximize this buff. And finally,
by the way, this will influence your choice of light cone, especially if you don't have good relics. Especially when you have when you don't have good relics and you don't have her signature light cone, then I think like there's only a few light cones that you can use if you don't have good relics with enough effect hit rate to reach 120.
Now if we want this much effect hit rate anyway, she will gain 28% attack, 10% effect hit rate, and 14.4% wind damage bonus in her trace stat bonuses.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy the
Oh no, stop.
4% wind damage bonus in her trace stat bonuses.
YouTube Premium, guys. That's why we need YouTube Premium, guys.
Let's quickly review her Eidolons after that super long explanation.
Yeah.
That is pretty insane, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
When she's in battle, enemies will receive a 25% resistance shred debuff respective to whatever dot is applied to them.
Wow.
It's a wind shear, so that's
very
a
strong
25% wind res shred.
Yeah.
Not only is this insane for dots, it also introduces some out of dot supportive capabilities.
But her E1 though, you need E1 to make the support. I don't like that.
Friend on your preservation unit, and maybe she can help out 5 DPS.
Okay.
Even break darts can contribute to this. This is at best a 25% DPS increase to Black Swan and
wow, that's huge. 25%.
Buffs and debuffs like
that's huge.
Luame's ult, it's still very strong because of how rare these buffs are.
Mm-hmm.
Her E2 makes enemies with Arcana, so basically any enemy, inflict 6 additional stacks to adjacent targets upon being defeated. This is great for AoE fights.
Yeah.
E4 reduces enemy F-res by 10% during Epiphany, and then enemies defeated during it or taking their turn give Black Swan 8 energy. Once per enemy, once per Epiphany.
So you can ult more.
This is great in AoE for
this is awesome.
Extra energy and will make her rotation shorter.
Yep.
In a single target though, you won't notice anything different about her energy. Her final item gives her a chance to apply Arcana on targets attacked by Black Swan's allies, not by herself. But then, for every single possible Arcana application, she will have a 50% fixed chance, so not changeable by effect hit rate, to apply another one. This means every single way she has applied a stack of
That's how you reach 50.
Now basically applies
Arcana stacks
on average.
Yeah.
It's a pretty OP way to end things.
Yep.
You can definitely see some 50 stack Arcanas at F6. After all those kit shenanigans, let's move on to her builds.
Okay.
And let's start with her best relics.
Focus, guys.
I doubt it will be the prisoner set. This
yep.
gives her
the DOT set.
Already strong.
DOT set for DOT characters.
With her Def Ignore and her Arcana.
Who can guess, right?
Reduction on her skill and her
Shocking.
Light Cone, as we will see in a bit. It is by far her best. If you don't have a full set, you can do a mix and match of 2-piece Wind set, 2-piece Pioneer, the new Buffer set, and any 2-piece Attack Relic set. The 4-piece Wind set shouldn't really be used unless you know what you're doing and optimize your team for it. In my simulations, the Wind set's advance forward desynced Black Swan so much from her allies that having no relic bonuses was actually a tiny bit better, because apart from the advance, the Wind set is just a 10% damage bonus.
So Wind set sucks.
For playing this, I would farm the Glamour set. At 160 speed and even 135 speed, it's just really good on her.
Yeah.
Space Seeding Station is pretty much equal to 135 speed Glamour though, if you have it.
So it's easier to use Space Seeding.
Wise, but the world sucks to farm with the Celestial Differentiator, and in my opinion, it's not worth the damage increase, but maybe you can use what remains for it. For main stats, you want to go for an effect hit rate chest, speed breaks, attack percent or wind damage percent orb, and an attack percent rope. Effect hit rate chest should always be prioritized unless you can hit 120% effect hit rate without it, which is very difficult, even with a light cone with this stat.
Alright.
Her orb depends on her teammates and substats, so basically go whichever has the best stats. Overall, Mage team prefers attack percent, and Acid team prefers damage percent, for example. Energy on Black Swan is a no-go outside of perhaps pure fiction. An extra ultimate isn't worth it, and results in a 12% DPS loss.
That's huge.
You want to hit 3k attack, 135 speed, and
attack,
120% effect hit rate. If you're a god roller and want to min-max your
that's a lot of effect hit rate though. 120
will be nice, and Raw May can help with speed requirements. Her action order is more important.
You need light cone and relics, guys.
So don't worry, and we'll see more about that in teams. For Lycones, let's discuss her signature, Reforged Remembrance. It gives her
beautiful art
effect hit rate at S1, which is perfect, equal to Eyes of Praise hit rate buff at S5. Then, when the wearer deals damage to enemies inflicted with the 4 unique element dot types, she will gain a stack of profit, up to 4 stacks. The thing is, she doesn't lose these stacks, and her ultimate will stack it up to 4 by itself, since Arcana doubles all 4 dot elements during Epiphany. This means you don't need any help from dot allies, as after one ultimate, she will have a permanent 4
what does profit do though?
For the whole fight. These profit stacks increase her attack and make her dots and dots only ignore enemy defense.
Broken.
20%
definitely broken, guys.
8%
definitely broken.
At 4 stacks.
Because she already have defense ignore in her kit.
And is of course easily her best in slot and by far 20% better than the other good options.
Signature light cone best in slot, shocking.
20.8%. Her Def Ignore from this cone at 28.8%, the Prisoner set giving 18% Def Ignore, and 7 stack Arcana ignoring 20% Def on enemy.
There's a lot of defense ignore.
87.6% Def Ignore on your Arcana.
Oh my goodness.
85% DPS increase.
Wow.
Getting to 100% Def Ignore from a Resolution Light Cone on another unit will result in a further 14% DPS increase. Other Light Cone options.
So basically guys, if you're wondering whether should I go for E1 or S1, just go S1 first. S1, and then if you have any pulls left, go for her E1. So E1 S0 is not good. E0 S1 is better than E1 S0. So, but your target should be like if you've been saving, if you already have Kafka and you skip everyone until now, and you have so many polls like 200, 250 polls, then go for E1 S1. If you don't have enough polls, then go E1 E0 S1. E0 S1, guys. According to Guoba, is like 85% damage boost, so it's huge.
Include basically any effect here we like her, and she loves the stat that much.
Okay.
This is Incessant Rain, which will also provide some additional damage benefits for the team. Eyes of the Prey S5 is her free-to-play friendly option and pretty much her best and most accessible cone outside of her signature.
Makes sense.
Tutorial is a free light cone if you started before 1.1 second half.
I don't have that
on her too, since she can activate
rerun, please.
Defense reduction. The extra ults are like an NG rope on her, but with no damage increase passive, this cone is not beating Eyes of the Prey. Most of its benefits are just from the.
How about Good Night Sleep Well?
You could also use this on another .DPS since she can fulfill the conditions for them. I didn't calculate non-effect hit rate cones because my substat distribution doesn't allow for it. You need 17 average effect hit rate subs at worst when including a main stat.
That's a lot, guys.
Hit rate. So
just go Eyes of the Prey, guys.
Either way, from other sources, it's Showtime, the new Pentagon cone, and Goodnight Sleep Well are competitive with Eyes of the Prey if you do have 120% effect hit rate.
If you have enough effect rate.
How difficult it is to get all those subs.
Yes.
For energy rotations, she will get a 4-turn rotation with 4 skills or 3 skills 1 basic if you get a kill or external energy. This basic can also be replaced by a Hua ultimate, and she can also allow you to run skill point neutral Black Swan.
Hua guys.
You are using her skill frequently, if
best
not
healer in the game.
Time in AoE, but if you want to opt for a skill point positive rotation, that will take 5 turns to reach her ultimate.
Oh, that's a lot though.
Now, before we tackle teams, let's discuss Black Swan's pros and cons.
Okay.
First, we have high dot damage. Her multipliers go quite high, and in Kafka teams, she will contribute more damage than Kafka herself, considering detonating.
So Kafka support then, huh?
Damage.
Kafka support.
You also have damage amping power. You have Death Shred, Epiphany, Res Shredder E1.
Yep.
She does a lot of different things, whilst also doing crazy damage already.
Her light cone though.
This means she kinda can be a supportive unit outside of dot teams if you love her enough, but she's of course best used in dot comps.
Yep.
We have easy and AoE dot applications. Enemies are always going to have one Arcana on them at least.
Yep.
This means without lifting a finger, Black Swan has her dot applied and is guaranteed to do
damage. That's the awesome thing.
This means for pure fiction, where enemies can spawn ahead of you, they'll still take damage without Swan even taking action.
Yes, very good.
Power also increases the more enemies you have. The more enemies there are, the more blast procs on her Arcana.
So pure fiction, guys.
Spreads and
pure fiction specialist.
Like for cons, we have backloaded damage. Yes, she deals a ton. Yes, it's not as
that's the problem with the OT in general though.
Multipliers are terrible outside of her dot.
Yeah.
This means enemy turns and
that's my problem with the OT.
Maximizing her damage and front loading it.
Yep.
She also really enjoys having dot units to apply her Arcana stacks. By herself, she isn't applying all that much. Finally, her base chances mean even at 120% effect hit rate, you aren't guaranteed to hit all your Arcana applications versus endgame enemies. It will be about 86% versus 40% effect resistance enemies.
So how much do you need?
Let's finish with teams. The way you'll team build with her on your team is by pairing her with a dot unit and a damage amplifier and then a sustain. If you want to run 3 dots, you'd replace.
So basically, Hua, Ruanmei, Black Swan, Kafka.
In the second dot slots are Kafka, then E4 Sampo. Guinevere and Luca won't be close to these.
Guys, the best team for Black Swan includes all limited 5-star, and all of those limited 5-star are basically back to back. And the only exception is Argenti in between Hua and Ruanmei. So basically, you need Hua, Ruanmei, Kafka, and Black Swan. And Ruanmei, Kafka, and Black Swan is back to back to back. So PS5 players, new players coming into the game, good luck. Good luck. Good luck, guys.
The best damage amplifier by far for damage over time comps is Ruanmei, but Asta and Pala will work too.
Yep.
The way you'll build your team speed-wise is by having your sustain and support ahead of Black Swan and your secondary dot. Then your second dot unit will go after Black Swan for a full order of buffer.
After Black Swan, huh?
To Black Swan to second dot.
That's one problem, guys. That's one problem. Normally, you build Kafka really fast. Because her signature icon also give her energy. So you're probably sitting at 140 something Kafka, 150 something Kafka, and then your Black Swan needs to go even faster than that. Mind you that Black Swan base speed is 102. So you need a lot of speed substats. You need a lot of speed, guys, to make this work. Or you can sacrifice some speed with Kafka and make Kafka like 134 and then Black Swan is like 135 or 138 or whatever, you know. So yeah, it requires some speed tuning on your part as well. So good luck to you.
Ensures your first 2 units can activate Kafka's talent for shock application, and makes it so Black Swan will apply Arcana for Kafka or Sampo to detonate just after.
Yeah, makes sense.
This is just for optimizing your team, and if you don't want to speed tune, don't worry too much.
Yeah.
Kafka being faster than Black Swan is fine too, it's just a minor optimization.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't run Kafka, the sustain being faster isn't really needed, but the support should still be faster ideally to apply debuffs or buffs before
Fast
you
Ruanmei, guys.
Her absolute best team will be Black Swan, Kafka, Ruanmei, and Ho-Ho.
Yep.
This is the standard that rolls will be
just like what I said.
Combining the power of Black Swan's damage
four
out
limited
damage,
premium unit back to back to back.
Ruanmei's insane damage boosting power and dot synergies, and Ho-Ho's energy and attack percent.
Hua best healer.
Do Kafka teams necessarily need Black Swan, and does Black Swan need Kafka?
Okay, important question, guys.
Simulations, maths does not mean reality, it just gives us a good idea of it.
Yes.
Practice is very important too. And
testing.
so amazing to use in combat in my experience.
Okay.
The thrill of big Arcana
Convince me.
Easy application, and high damage from detonations makes Black Swan, in my experience, just a way better sample for Kafka.
Okay.
So in my Black Swan team
makes
simulations,
sense.
Kafka is Black Swan's best dot partner. The only time it is close is when considering purely wind weak, pure single target, where Sampo can come out ahead by a percentage at very high investment.
But we never ever going to get that content, guys. Like single target. When did we ever? Maybe in the future, but as for now, like yeah, that never happens. So yeah.
This is most likely the case for Luca 2 for physical week. Do note also that in these simulations, Kafka does not have her signature, which greatly improves her own potential.
Okay.
Prisoner sets potential and increases Arcana stacks.
Mm-hmm.
That icon just really keeps getting better and better.
Imagine. Imagine, guys, building the best. I want to build the best of the best of the best DOT team. I need Hua, I need Ruanmei and her signature light cone. Or if you have memory of the past, that's fine, you know. Or I need Ruanmei at E1, defense down, you know. And then I need Kafka and signature light cone. And then I need Black Swan and signature light cone. Yeah. Yeah, and the fact that Ruanmei, Kafka, and Black Swan comes back to back to back. So, oh, the pain. The pain, guys, the pain.
If the enemy has lightning weakness, it goes back in favor of Kafka. When considering 2 or more enemies, Kafka is best for Black Swan again.
Yes.
And in any AoE fight, Kafka rules.
Yep.
It is nice to know though that you...
So basically, Kafka and Black Swan are married, guys. Kafka and Black Swan are married. They, you cannot separate them. They are inseparable. Basically,
you don't need Kafka for Black Swan.
For best damage.
Sampo is a fine substitute, but you want at least E4 Sampo.
Yeah,
E4 Sampo
high
can
investment.
Any wind shears, provided the enemy has 5 stacks of wind shear, and that can be his own or Arcana.
Rip E0 Sampo.
Teams comparing Black Swan to Sampo this time instead of Kafka to Sampo. Black Swan is just an upgrade to Sampo in any scenario.
Makes
simulations
sense.
from God's Cell from Kafka mains,
shocking, guys, shocking.
In a single target scenario, Black Swan is always an upgrade. E0 S0 is a 9% increase.
Shocking, guys. That a limited 5-star DOT character is better than a 4-star character. Yeah, shocking.
Over Sampo, who is supposed to be a single target powerhouse. Her E1 and S1 increases gap even more so. In AoE, Black Swan...
I mean, E0 S0 just 9% better than Sampo? I don't know about you guys, but that's not that high. That's not that high. Is it just me? Is it just me? That's not that high. I mean, we are pulling like 90 pulls if we don't lose 50-50, right? So for 9% increase damage, I don't know, guys. I think it's not that much. Is it just me?
One is much stronger than Sampo. So overall, you won't be disappointed in replacing Sampo with her, but Sampo will still be fine if you don't want to pull for Swan.
Okay.
I hope this video helped. Let me know below your impressions on Swan and if you're pulling.
Okay, that's it. So based on this guide, my thought on Black Swan is that number 1, you must like her design in order to pull her. I mean, if you like her design, then it doesn't matter what she does, right? So yeah, just pull her waifu over meta, no problem. So number 2, if you need to enjoy DOT, if you're like me, someone who doesn't really appreciate DOT, then there's no point on pulling Black Swan. Number 3, you need Kafka basically, because Black Swan is basically married to Kafka. If you want to maximize damage, then you also need Ruanmei, you also need Hua Hua, you also need Kafka's best signature Lycon, you also need Black Swan's signature Lycon. If you're a dolphin, or if you've been saving since the earliest of time, then you have so many pools. So you can also go for E1 Ruanmei, and then E1 Black Swan too. So for maximized damage. Yeah, guys. I don't know about you guys. I think building this team is really expensive compared to hyper carry and double DPS, even compared to follow up attack, right? So the OT is really expensive as of right now. That's just my opinion though. So yeah. Go ahead and go subscribe to Guoba Certified, guys. So if you don't want to miss any video like this where I react to Honkai Star Rail content by prominent Honkai Star Rail content creator, then go ahead and subscribe and turn the notification on so you don't miss my next video, my next upload. So with all that said, that's all from me. See you in the next video.